What's up, guys? So I decided to do a little video on the differences between an S13 and S15 intercooler, because that is one upgrade that we're actually going to do on the S13. Apparently it's a very common thing to do because it is pretty close to a direct replacement, but there are some differences and there are some things we're going to have to do. So I'm going to flip you guys around, let you guys check this out, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see that they do have a scoop each. They're very, very similar shape, but the big difference is here. This one is way thinner than this guy, so this guy, big boy. And the reasoning for that, I believe, is because the S15 comes with a larger turbo and is variable valve timing, so probably a little higher output, and the turbo itself makes a little more heat, I guess. More output, more heat, newer generation, older generation. But the big difference back here is the way the pipes and stuff run. So this kind of sits like a V-mount, so it lays forward like this. This one is nasty. I mean, it is full of stuff, so this thing was not working to its full potential. You see this guy here is going to be nice and clean, but you see that the pipe routing is different. The other big thing is, you notice here, no blow-off valve. Blow-off valve, no blow-off valve. S13 blow-off valve is down in the fender well, which is really odd. I guess the S15 must be on the charge pipe somewhere. So the good thing is that it looks like all of the mounting holes are exactly the same on both, and the actual tubes, so the actual tubes themselves look like they have the same exact bolt pattern as well. So basically what we're going to do is zip both tubes off, inlet and outlet from both, and swap them over after, obviously this needs to be cleaned. So I'll clean these tubes and get them transferred to the S15 intercooler. And yeah, so we're gonna, I guess, disassemble these things real quick. Okay, so I went ahead and got all my tools and kind of moved up here on the table so I'm not squatting down. But we're gonna zip everything apart and hopefully everything just bolts right on. Obviously we're gonna clean everything, get everything nice and shiny before I put it on the new intercooler. But yeah. Okay, so pretty much the standard Japanese bolt sizes apply, 10 and 12. So there are 10s that hold the air scoop on the actual intercooler, and then you've got 12s that hold the pipes on. Same on both of these. So this has the S15 brackets on it still. I have the old S13 brackets off here. So these guys, I'll clean them up. They'll get bolted back on to the S15 along with the new pipes. So I'm going to get these things apart. Yeah. All right, so now that everything's apart, you can really see the difference in core thickness. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about, obviously they will mount the same, and it looks like they are pretty much identical as far as like spacing side to side. Since this one is clean, let's put this right there. Yep. So the spacing is all the same. You can see actually it looks like the end tanks are cast exactly the same, minus the fact that this is a lot thicker here. There's a good shot there. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna take and clean all the parts from the old intercooler. The only thing I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do is the gaskets. I will likely use some Permatex Right Stuff because it works great. These are like almost like exhaust gaskets is what they feel like. So I think I'm just gonna scrape all the old gasket off of the intercooler and the old pipes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna clean everything up. You can see the old duct is right here, and it's full of dirt, like a lot of dirt. So it'll be nice to get this thing all cleaned out. Yeah, I think this will be a really nice, upgrade for a pretty much bolt-on piece. Hopefully, I guess we'll see once we get it back in the car. All right, we're back. Got my pipes all cleaned up. I still need to scrape the old gaskets off, clean that up. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on making these things just totally spotless. I just wanted to get the main grime off. Clean this thing up. This thing cleaned up really nice. Now we did find all that mud in that corner, so I drilled a little hole in the corner to allow any moisture that may collect right here because it does sit at an angle. I want it to drain, so that's going to allow any water or mud or anything that gets stuck in here to drain out so it doesn't just collect nasty and end up looking like this one. Our brackets are all cleaned up. Again, I'm not going to repaint them or anything. They actually cleaned up pretty nice. If this car ever gets a front mount, this all goes away, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I'm going to start assembling things kind of loosely because from where things are thicker forward, I'm a little bit worried that the spacing might be a little bit off for this scoop. Obviously everything in the back should line up exactly the same way because all of this is on the same plane, so it's just thicker forward. So worst case, I've got to cut a little bit off of this or maybe try to use the S15 one, but I stuck it up in there and it is doesn't really seem like it works right. I don't know if this laid a little bit further down because it does look like the scoop profile to fit the bumper, it looks like it might lay a little bit further down, but obviously it's in an S13, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, gonna get this on and the brackets and lay it up in there and see what happens. Okay, so I know that I said that I was going to throw everything together, but I decided to clean all the gasket material off, and then I wanted to double check the flatness on the two pipes that are going to connect to the intercooler from the old one, and I'm kind of glad that I did. I hit them on the belt sander and they had a bunch of highs and lows. I'm guessing that's why the gaskets are so thick. Well, now they're perfectly flat. I cleaned the intercooler off, so now all it's going to take is just a really thin film of Right Stuff. They will be sealed forever. Again, we're not going to go crazy on this because if he ever upgrades to a front mount, all this goes away. But now we're going to put it together. Okay, so I got the end brackets on along with the scoop, and now we're going to go put it in the car. Alright, so there you have it. All the S13 parts are on the S15 intercooler, and they bolt right up. Pretty awesome. It does bolt in the car. I have a feeling I'm going to run into the same issues trying to get it out, and that was having this attached. Not as easy because it does slip through some holes. There's a bolt that comes from the very top right next to where these connect, and yeah, I probably should have left these off. That probably would have made my life a lot easier. So maybe I should go ahead and take those back off. That's how I got the thing out. But if I can get it in there like this, that would be awesome. Alright, so it is tight in here. And I'm going to tell you guys, do yourself a favor, take the blow-off valve off. Because obviously I took that other bracket back off over here. The blow-off valve runs right into that bracket, and I don't think you can get the bolts completely in once it's all in there. But it's sitting in there. You can see the holes are lined up. I need to get the blow-off valve back in there. The line was a little rusty, so I think what I might actually do is replace the vacuum line so that there's no chance of any kind of leaks. There's just a little like metal line, but it's a little bit rusty. And I just want to ensure that this does not leak, because then it'll have a vacuum leak and it'll run like doo-doo. So, yep, that's in there now. I'm going to get the bracket back in there, find a piece of vacuum line for this, and get everything bolted back up. Alright, it's in. I got my blow-off valve back on. I did notice that there was a little rust in here, so I cut the end off, and it's much tighter now. I was going to change this, except for it actually adapts from a larger size up to this smaller line. So I don't have any sort of like line adapter or hose that I would trust any more than that. So I did inspect it for any leaks and I didn't see anything. I will suggest putting the clamps back as close to where they were when you pulled them off as you can, because that helps everything where it was sealed seal back up where it was. So this thing has a mass airflow sensor, very important to have no leaks and everything like that. The one thing I'll say is where I've noticed the big difference is ground clearance here. So you can see it's now like flush with the bottom of the bumper, where before it was a little bit higher. There is a little bracket that I need to put back on. It's kind of like a bar that would be like a stabilizer bar kind of for the bumper, but it also will act as like a skid plate for the bottom of the intercooler. So I'm gonna get that bar back on, and that'll be what I'm gonna do now, I guess. You'll see up in here, all stock location down in the hole. I loosen, there's two 10mm bolts over here. I loosen those up, and those go to this bracket in here. You'll see in here. So I loosen those up. All that's back tight. Yeah, so we did do a stock side mount but hard pipe kit. You'll see the hard pipes back in there. And I got my blow-off valve return hose hooked back up. I just need to slide the clamp down and tighten it up. And then I will get the charge pipes hooked back up in here. And yeah, I think that will probably do it. I'll get the last couple of things back in. I gotta put the fender liner back in. And yeah, check back in with you in a second. Alright, so this is how it all fits now. Back exactly the way that it was. You can see the hard pipe here. I didn't tighten any of this up. I don't like to tighten up intercooler bits until they're all together, but I also need to change this hose and the lower hose. We got some ISR silicone hoses. These are actually leaking a little bit up here. Get this all cleaned off. Yeah, so that's that. It fits. Factory hole there is where the intercooler actually takes air in. So yeah, pretty neat. But you can see kind of how low the thing is. It's right there. Alright, so that is putting an S15 upgraded intercooler in the side mount location on an S13. Please like, share, comment below if this was a helpful video. If it was, awesome. I'm really glad I could help. Consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing a lot more like tutorial type stuff over this next year. And yeah, check back with you guys soon. Bye.